Doreen.
Right here.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Blaine Ashley, and I'm the founder of The Fizz is Female. And The Fizz is Female celebrates female made, owned, and heavily helmed sparkling wines from around the world. Also, any small businesses that have an emphasis on sparkling wine, fizzy wine, hence The Fizz is Female. So, this evening we are chatting with one of my closest friends, New York based sommelier Doreen Winkler. Hi.
Hi.
And Doreen recently launched, I think it was back in October, right? You launched Orange Glou, which is an all orange wine or mostly orange wine subscription company. So, congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
And tell us a little bit about the inspiration, first off, about Orange Glou. Like, what made you decide to launch an all orange wine club? And by the way, great timing because everyone is doing so much business online now. So kudos.
Um, well, basically, I've been into orange wine for a very long time, for about 7 years now, when I worked in a Scandinavian restaurant called Aska. And that's also like when I was able to do my very first natural wine list. And the love for orange wine kind of grew really, really fast. And I've been consulting for many years for Cell Rose, where we have a ginormous, you really have to say it's a very big orange wine list, with numerous wines also by the glass, obviously other wines as well. But it was like always like my favorite thing, and it's what I want to drink. It's what I want to have when I go out. And like then I had a lot of different people like asking me. I was consulting for a shop, like they would just like give me their credit card and they would be like, pick me some orange, pick me some pet nuts, pick me something natural, this is my budget. It's kind of how it started. And the store was actually thinking about doing some sort of subscription, but they were all over the place and they wanted to kind of please everybody. Like they wanted to do high-end Burgundy, Bordeaux, Champagne. And
What store was this, first of all? So this was a store you were buying for.
it was a store that I consulted for and I was buying.
Okay. Okay, great.
You know it. But basically like came some ideas in my head because I was immediately advising them, if you want to do something that is like some sort of a wine club, then you really should go niche. And then at some point, like when I left the store, I was thinking about, like maybe there's a way to do this by myself, to like really launch the hardcore orange wine subscription. I was talking to friends of mine that that always bought from me. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
And they always bought from me, and they really like pushed me, especially my friend Katie Rogers. She's an artist with a really big, and she kind of really like pushed me, supported me, and said, I'm going to do the art, I'm going to help you with the first steps, because I was very afraid to put myself out there. How's the website going to look, like everybody judging you? It was like kind of that kind of thing. But yeah, with help of friends like you and Katie and others, and encouragement from all of them, I started to write all my ideas down and get things started.
Cool. What got you into natural wine and orange wine? I don't think I've ever met someone who's as into natural wine and orange wine as much as you are. And I think that a lot of our friends and people in the industry would say the same. So what got you into this world? What made you crack into this side of the business?
Well, I was working with high-end wines and, regular wines, so to say, for a very long time. I mean, I'm a sommelier since I'm 22. I'm 25 now. Just kidding. But I've been in this for a very long time. Don't rat me out. For a very long time. And then things were always a little bit stuffy and sticky for me. But I did like it. And I was kind of getting into natural wine 2012-ish, which was fairly new. And like with this opportunity from Aska, like to really like dig in so deep, I just felt like I can't go back. So it was like these wines just interested me more, from the taste, but also like the more like you learn about like practices in the vineyards, and how much love, is going into them, it's just, really inspired me. And I've been doing a lot of harvest ever since, and working with those farmers. And I really like the philosophy. I like how they treat wine, really just made out of grapes. And yeah, to me, the wines are lighter, the wines are fresher, the wines have more acidity, the wines are more pure.
And people more and more are caring about ethical practices and where their food and wine is coming from. So I would say that you were definitely ahead of the curve and pioneering
What
that movement. I would say you were a trendsetter.
you. But I must really tell you that there was a lot of like, things that I got to hear, from other people about that. Like people felt sorry for me. You were with me when this very big restaurateur said, "Oh, I'm so sorry for you that you like natural wine, because you were not going to be able to enjoy all the Burgundy." I'm like, there is natural Burgundy, but you were there. We don't.
I was, yeah, I was about a year ago, actually, your anniversary.
Meet him, and that was only a year ago. And I was invited as a guest sommelier at Food and Wine in Aspen. I was so excited. I mean, I was invited there, like the year before I was working. That year I was invited to all these seminars that I did for sommeliers. And of course, like the first question is always, what do you do? Which is, it's a really bad thing about America. I must tell you that. But like, oh, natural wine, what? No. So nobody was really able to deal with that. And many like trips, like I did harvest in the Finger Lakes with a group of people, and others, like, there was a lot of like or like last year that was surprising for me, but many years before, it's always like people didn't really understand it. But to be honest, it's okay, because if you stand for something, then it's okay to take that backlash. I'm really happy where I am now, and I love drinking this stuff.
Same. So you were a sommelier since 22. Did you start in Germany where you're from, or did you start in the US, your career in the wine business?
Basically, kind of started it in Switzerland.
Okay. I never knew that.
Yeah, so hospitality, I went to school for when I was 16. So it's like hospitality, apprenticeship slash, management school. You do that for like 3 years, and then you have to grow from assistant server to wherever you want to go. But you first have to do all the hard work. But yeah, in hospitality in Switzerland, it's really, really, really high profile. Service is excellent. And back in the day, like they had some of the biggest wine cellars. And when you're so young, you kind of really want to like see a wine cellar with like 2,000 bottles and work there, and it's crazy, and you don't understand, and you want to know the differences of everything. And so I basically started off as a sommelier and became as a server, and became some sort of assistant sommelier, for a while. And when I returned to Germany at 22, in Hamburg, I started in a hotel and became a sommelier there. Was a buyer for a small, beautiful restaurant that was actually Chinese inspired, because that was kind of the thing back in the day, Asian fusion. Yeah.
Well, that's so funny because we had your 25th birthday at a Chinese restaurant this year. So how apropos is that? Um, so what brought you from Germany to New York?
I think that I always wanted a little bit more. So like I was kind of really ballsy. This hotel is like amazing, where I got the sommelier job with 22. But I was hardworking. It's kind of a weird thing by people always trying to undermine you, but I still didn't let that happen to me. I basically told the director of the hotel, I want to become in one of the restaurants, I want to be a sommelier. And they're just like, woman, 22. I mean, you're basically a girl. But somehow I like somebody actually just left when I started there, and they saw how hungry I am and how good I am, and how enthusiastic. Basically, I know everything? No, but I was enthusiastic. I wanted to learn. I knew my program inside out, what we had on the list, and they saw like, this woman isn't like having like an attitude. She's really a hard worker. She's there first. She's there last, and she can do it. And yeah, and that's kind of how it started. And then there were like many really good positions after that. Like I ran like the whole F&B or wine programs of a hotel a few years later, and then was in a Michelin star restaurant with 25, where we worked with like a lot of food magazines. We had like dinners with Chateau Palmer, Chateau Margaux, like, big champagne brands, salon, like exclusive stuff. And like I was in a lot of papers, and somehow, I mean, it was so much hate, to be very honest. I was all men at this time, and yeah. And I just kind of like felt like, so what's after this? There needs to be even more than that. And I'm just 25, and I felt like, maybe if I go somewhere else, like for a few months, because in Hamburg I had such a good reputation, I wasn't really ready in my head to leave, but I guess my legs were ready. They were ready. Yeah. And so applied for numerous things. I really wanted to be in Vegas because like that's where it is. That's where the $100,000 bottles are getting sold. Back in the day, like it's funny how your whole thoughts are changing. Back in the day, that's I gotta go to Vegas if I go to America. Ended up in Michigan on an island.
Where? Michigan?
When they first offered me the job, I was like, what? No. I got it through somebody I knew got this offer, and I was like on the phone with him. I'm like, are you nuts? I want to go to Vegas, New York, San Francisco, LA, but not Michigan. However, things like, sometimes you just have to do. And that was just a short seasonal position, and things went from there.
So how did you make the hop to New York?
So in Michigan, I was able to visit a couple times, and I fell in love the moment like I stepped out of the car from the airport. It's just, we stayed in the Millennial Hotel in Times Square, and I was thinking, oh, it's the best thing in the world. It was like the energy of the city. I just have never felt anything like that. So I knew I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna make it happen. But it was a very long 2 years until I actually finally made it here.
And what year was that?
And that was 2008.
Okay. 2008. I didn't realize that either, but that's a great time to be in the booze business because people were drinking a lot during the recession.
Complicated. Yeah, so in between, I worked in Sydney, Australia, and in Cyprus for a season as well, and always came back. And nobody really wanted to sign visas, all the commitment, and it was really, really hard because my resume was really good. So like I already had all these things, and yeah, but nobody really wanted to commit. And then I just was like, okay, I'll just, get a small like little room. I got a room with no windows in Queens. And stay here for 3 months until I find the right gig, because I didn't want to have like some gig to be first hired. I also didn't, I didn't want to sacrifice because I'm a foreigner. No, I wanted to have a good position.
So what was the first gig?
Well, it was basically AGM, events director, beverage manager, sommelier at a restaurant that no longer exists. It's called Steak Frites. It was on East 16th Street.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up because that's like my old neighborhood.
Yeah, it was for many years. And they had just swapped it around, and then they actually brought it back. It was a very interesting time.
Okay, so like we'll speed up the timeline so we can talk more about Orange Glou, but then what it was after that. So then after that, you ended up at Aska at some point. Weren't you at where else were you? You tell me.
Yeah, there were a couple in between. Not really. It's like in restaurants, work just die. Unfortunately. After Aska, basically we had a lot of chefs and a lot of like press people and creatives at Aska dining. And so I actually got a lot of like smaller offers afterwards to like do some sort of consulting, and then ended up consulting for Prime Meats for a few months, like 6 months, at the same time at Aldea for about almost a year, because they also opened then Lupolo. And also at the same time, I was getting into Cell Rose.
Yeah. Okay.
All at some places, sometimes I worked the floor, but for me, the floor was kind of over. It's been so long that I've been doing this, and I really feel like, you know, I'm very good with numbers. I'm very good with trends. I'm very good on the wine side, and I'm very good on training. That I just feel like I'm too old to be on the floor.
And then you were also consulting for a wine store. So was that when you really decided to do your own thing that had a retail
I think
off-premise style kind of beat?
and me, but it came really later. It's just like people are always asking me like to get them wine, and you know, at some point, like my friend Katie said, like you need to bring the orange wine to the people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When
Sure.
was that? When was that?
I think it was December 2018. We were like having our Christmas lunch or something. I told her about this sporadically, and she was like sitting me down and say, let's just do it. Stop talking, start doing.
Right. But in December 2017, I remember being in Hawaii, where I'm from, and calling Ruffian and buying you and the owner of Sol Rose some champagne. And I feel like you guys were starting to talk about doing something orange wine focused then, no?
That was like we were doing Instagram together.
Okay, like an orange wine Instagram.
So, yeah, we were just doing an orange wine Instagram. So, which honestly kind of took so much work that at some point, like we're like, okay. And
Okay, so then from the aha moments, like when you kind of started having the idea for Orange Glue to the actual conceptualization, so your aha moment was kind of December 2018, and then you fully launched in 2000 and, I'm sorry, October 2019.
yes,
Did you get to work right away, or did?
right away. And I hired somebody to do my design. And you know, maybe I'm just not good to explain myself, but I was just not happy how this was going, and I was kind of really embarrassed. And we were going in circles, and it was never like feeling like me, because like I felt like, and I worked with other people as well for a little bit or trial, and I felt they were always going what they wanted to do. But this is really, it has to be a reflection of me. And it was all about, and it's not like I have a lot of people in my ear. They want me, my brand to become girly. I don't want my brand to become girly, because, you know, I don't want just girls to buy from it, but that's not really the point. The point is like, I'm not a girly girl, but that's not the point either. These are serious wines. This is not
Yeah.
sweet and cute. Like I'm not cute and sweet. Like I don't want my brand to be cute and sweet. And these wines, Radicon is not cute and sweet, or anything that I deliver is not cute and sweet. It's serious stuff. With a serious story, the wines are really hard to get, and so I had a lot of issues with that. I really was embarrassed about the whole where this brand is heading. I wasn't liking it. I got a lot of offers that of other people, like they wanted to help me with packaging, but then they didn't know what they're talking about. Like it has to be shippable, you know. Like you can't just design something cute. And the builds were like, you know, people quoted me $14,000 for packaging and a website. Like I really have to tell you, people are out there. It's not always really nice, because if I would have invested 14,000 plus all the other things that cost money where you don't even think of, I mean, when do you get that money back? Like 5 years later? It's like, it's just not right. So I just decided at some point I had a click, and I was like, you know, I'm just going to do something simple with this website, and I'm going to almost do it myself, but I'm going to put the best things in these boxes. That's what I'm going to do. The best product
There's the box.
have into the wine, and not into the paper, and into the designer and whatever are just gonna bring the best wines every single month. And it takes me a lot to actually, the deciding process takes forever.
So tell us how it, well, I do know that that's true because I've helped you. Fulfillment is what you're talking about. And I've come to your store that you ship out of and helped you wrap and package boxes. And I got a D maybe, because if you guys know me, you know that's not what I'm about. I'm not good at like detailed stuff. So I don't think I'm getting invited back, but you do everything from from the curation of the wines to the packaging of the wines to all the fulfillment to the sending of the boxes. You're doing it all right now, and I actually think that's really smart because it's allowing you to see where you can cut corners on costs. And like you said, you are such a good numbers person. So I think that that's the way to go when you're starting a business of any kind, to do as much as you can by yourself and then see what you can task out as you grow. So good job.
Thank you.
Friend.
I don't have that money yet to give somebody. I don't know what they want to have per package, but also like, you know, my packages look very neat. If there's like, I'm afraid that I'll give it away and it will not arrive the way I want it to arrive.
So it's all the wines are wrapped in a really nice tissue paper wrapping, and it's very on brand, and every box comes with a sheet that describes the wines and the pairing options. So it's really well done, and it's a lot for someone to do that's also doing everything else in the business. So tell us how you sign up, how you get involved, how it works. So is it a monthly shipment? Is it a quarterly shipment? Is it, what was that?
I made some changes to my business.
Okay.
So it is meant to be a subscription that will be built every single month, be shipped like every single month as well at the same time. But due to COVID, there was a lot of people in March that were asking me, like, we kind of really just want to try it out. Like, you know, if we really like it, then we will sign up. And I open it up for everybody now. The 3-bottle box and the 6-bottle box. I ship once a week. It's on Tuesday because I cannot access at the moment the shop where I ship out of more than like Tuesdays and Saturdays. And Saturdays, it's basically just ending up in a UPS facility overnight. So I'm not shipping on Saturdays, only on Tuesdays. And yeah, you can like sign up on the website orangeglou.com.
So you did a special, it was actually meant to be for Mother's Day, but it was a Pet Nat Taste the Rainbow kind of 3-bottle box option. And that's what we're looking at tonight. So I have this great, we love Pet Nat. So it is there's a rosé, which I'm having right now. And then you have the orange wine, which Doreen is having right now. And we also have a white Pet Nat. So can you tell us about the wines in this box? And it comes in that box. And also tell us about the pairing sheet that you put together, which is so great that I've been saving these wines for.
So this is the first one. I'm gonna unwrap it for you. The Kumpenmeyer from Alsace. Restance Nature, it's called. And it's made out of Pinot Gris, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Auxerrois. And is coming from the Alsace region in France. Amazing producer. I've met him now a few times at La Dive, a natural wine fair in the Loire Valley. And this guy, like, he's like took over from his parents. He's like the new generation. And as you may know, like, it's very traditional usually in Alsace, but there has been like these younger people have really been trying a lot of new things. Yeah, this is something that's really, really fresh, extremely minerally. We have the notes here. It says like Asian pear and green apple. Super like salient. It's like something you can really be excited about. because you're saving this, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna pair it with one of the suggestions. I can't wait.
Yeah, so suggestions are on there too. This one says fried chicken with cornbread, oysters, and some shishito peppers. You can also do,
Well,
there's so much stuff, but this has some texture to it. Like it's more of a medium bodied. It's so good. It's so fresh.
well, considering I'm down in the South right now, I don't think getting fried chicken or oysters will be hard to do. So I can't wait to try it with one of those pairings. And then what's the next one we have?
The next one is called Old Westminster Winery. And funny enough, they are from Maryland. Yes, I know. People think there's no wine in Maryland, but there is, and there's natural wine in Maryland. Same. And even insaner is actually that they grow Albarino.
Oh, yeah. Who knew?
Pinot Gris in there. And this is kind of a very interesting story. And so it's a pet nut, but it's also a piquette. So piquette is something that hasn't been like really sold on the market.
Wait, sorry. Why don't we back it up a minute? Some people on here might not know what pet nat is. So can we first say what pet nat is and then what piquette is? I forgot to mention that earlier. Please.
It's in short for pétillant naturel, which is basically translated by natural sparkling wine. So has to be out of organic grapes at the least, hand-picked, and then basically it gets crushed, goes into a tank. The natural fermentation starts with the natural yeasts, and then you gotta fill it into a bottle really, really quickly because you have to still have the grape, the fruit of the grape, the sugars of the grapes, and able to produce sparkling wine. So basically the yeast eats the sugar and the bubbles occur. And the more sugar there was in there while it's still fermenting, the more bubbles actually occur. And you want to trap them into the bottle. And then later you can disgorge it, which is like you have a little thing on top, the yeast on top, or you cannot. So people do different things. This one is disgorged, so it's completely clean. And when it comes to piquette, so piquette is basically, this is a nice little day drink. I don't know if you can see it, but it's 6.99% alcohol only. Piquette pet nut, so it is complicated. But basically it was supposed to be only a drink for like lunch when people did harvest because it has like low alcohol. But recently people have been doing really good examples of it. So it has been bottled from a couple of producers, not that many yet, but this was absolutely my fave. However, it's a waste product. So basically the grape seeds and the skins are being used and with filtered water and some yeasts also from the vineyards, the natural yeasts. And yeah, they're making a sparkling out of these things. Juice, water, grape skins. Piquette. Sounds really simple, but the wine is like, it's easy to drink, yes. But like it's to me a very, very serious wine. It's so delicious. Like I want to drink this all day, but you know, I also need to get some work done. I'm my only employee. Okay, my boyfriend is working with me. I'm poor guy.
Okay, so, and then we have what is the pairing suggestion for that actually?
This is light bodied, has some raspberry, like really tart raspberry and some nectarine skin. Really, this is like so good. And I was saying sushi, sashimi, and like goat cheese. So good.
Yum.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that before, but it's been a while, so I want to.
You had this because you helped me at my first event, and the winemaker, yes. And we poured this by the glass.
Yes.
Yes, the welcome drink.
Okay, and then we have the Pet Nat Rosé. So tell us about this one.
I have that right here. So it's actually also like a producer that I've known for a very long time, just like Kumpf and Kumpf and Meyer. The guy or the winery is called Veseli, and they're in the Kamptal of Austria. This one is made out of Zweigelt. pet nut rosé, so to say. So we have all the colors, white, orange, and rosé. And it's, yeah, did I say Zweigelt? Yeah, it's made out of Zweigelt. I mean, you have it in your glass. I mean, it's so like prickly
It's
hard.
so good. It's so good. And I've been wanting to try it for weeks now. So I'm so happy that I finally got to open it. But thank you. It's
I have
delicious.
wild strawberries, pink grapefruit, and there are some herbs that are at the end. I love this wine. And I would serve it with some poached lobster, some poached shrimp, or some poached chicken. But
Yum.
there's so many things that you can do with that. I mean, it's delicious. And I also like, people have been asking me if rosé is made the same way as orange. It's not. That's not really right, because orange is basically made like red wine. But rosés are on a very short time on the skins, and sometimes they're not on the skin at all. So like, they already produce, the grapes produce already so much texture or so much color that you don't have to actually have it together for a very long time.
I get that question a lot, so I'm going to let you answer it. So for anyone that watches this tomorrow or anyone on here now that might not know, can you explain how orange wine is made and what makes it classified as orange wine?
Basically, it's a simple thing to actually explain. You get the grapes, you harvest the grapes, you crush the grapes, and you keep it together with the skins and with the grapes. And with the stem, grapes and the seeds, so to say. Keeps together, it gets fermented, and the winemaker basically decides how long. And from the skin, it gets this color. And it can be any kind of color. So like some grapes are not so phenolic, some are not having the texture or the tannin structure and color to actually build like a really dark orange wine. So like orange wine comes in many different colors.
Yes, it's a literal rainbow. So what are your plans with Orange Glou? You're not even a year old and you've already faced a global pandemic with your small business, but I'm assuming that you're doing pretty well given that people are ordering online and more receptive to trying new things. Can you tell us if you're doing okay? You're doing all right, I think.
I'm doing all right. I mean, people always like, it's like there's misperceptions. I didn't go into and say like, I'm gonna like become a millionaire. I wanted to like really put myself out there. I wanted to do something with orange wine. And I feel like it's the best to like put first your product and then think about, where can we go from there? So this was my whole side project for a very long time until COVID came and all my consulting gigs went away. And first, like the business actually went down for a few weeks and I was really worried. I was actually becoming a little dramatic. Should I fold my business? What am I gonna do? But all of a sudden, like this inner strength actually came back and I was like, let's fight. And like at the end of March, I had so many more like people signing up, especially also when I opened it up to a one-time situation. I was like feeling really good. And somehow the number from March doubled in May. And I was kind of completely baffled when I printed out the report. But I still like, I have very small margins and I have high costs. And I'm doing well. And I'm hoping we can take this to another level. But like, you got to be humble and you just got to stay focused. The last couple of weeks, the orders came in very slowly. It's not as fast as it came in May. So like, I can't take anything for granted. I don't know what's happening, but I just have to keep on pushing and doing. And I get up every morning and I have a plan and I just work on this and I put my heart in this.
Staying passionate and persevering. So tell us about your plans for this summer. You, in the beginning, were doing some live events and pet nat parties and orange wine parties, and we were all coming to them, and they were a lot of fun. And so since you're not able to do that, what are your plans? Are you doing anything promotionally that's catchy or interesting on through the website, through social media?
We're doing like a bi-weekly event, IG Live with Orange Glou. Follow me.
Okay.
And yeah, at 6 p.m. every second Monday, I'm basically, it's all kind of stuff. I mean, I'm just trying to find like my voice there. I've never really done these things, recording myself. It was weird for the first time. But like on Monday, I interviewed, for example, like a winemaker that I really love that's in the current like subscription for June. He's from South Africa. That was a lot of fun. So sometimes I interview winemakers, and sometimes I just talk a little bit about, you know, what's in the 3-bottle box, what's in the 6-bottle box, drink along, drink with people, you know, like we're like exchanging each other. There's a lot of people that just want to do a nice little happy hour and exchange and learn something. And like, again, I keep this very like on the low. I like low key. I don't want to be this professor. Like for me, it was never like, wine education is not talking down to people and being like the smart ass in the room. It's about like sharing, and it's about getting other people excited. And so that's basically what I do, like drink alongs, little bit of education, interviewing winemakers, or like sometimes people pick something, you know, what they want to hear about.
Do you offer private tastings for people? Like a lot of people right now are doing the whole commissioning of sommeliers and winemakers to do private tastings for their groups of friends, for like corporate companies that can't do their general or their usual like client entertaining. Are you doing anything like that through Orange Glou?
Weirdly, I had like in the last 3 days, at least 3 people asking me that.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Companies, private people. I'm open to this, and I have done one. Like somehow, one of my members from the very get-go, like the first subscription was sent out in November. She asked me like if, you know, like a few people are buying, and I think like 9 people bought a box, and they wanted to have a private Zoom meeting. It's like, I'm not charging you guys. That's okay, but normally I would have to charge something. It just really depends.
Right. And then I have one more question, and I blanked on it. Oh, what are the costs of the boxes generally? What's the range, the price range?
That box was kind of a one-off, and I'm always doing like a special. I'm doing next month a whole natural box special with all colors of the rainbow, so to say. Pet nut, white, orange, rosé, and red. So I like to have some room, like this is all like, it's an orange wine subscription, but I also want to have some fun on the side sometimes. And so I thought like it was really a lot of fun, like doing some pet nuts. I love to drink that stuff. And the pet nuts are 89, and I only have 6 boxes left. And then it starts with 105 at the 3-bottle and 195 for the 6-bottle.
Okay,
cool. That's my membership.
Do it. Does anyone, I'm going to go ahead and open it up for people to ask questions. So if anyone wants to unmute, you can do it right now. If you want to type in a question in the chat, that's available too. Anyone have a question?
Did you see the question from Rafaela?
Well, I saw a comment. So Rafaela said, this wine is delicious. And you were talking about this We Love Pet Nat. And by the way, for people on here, Rafaela is the U.S. ambassador for Bollinger and Ayala, and she's going to be on next Wednesday. So either tune in or catch it on Fizz Media, which is a new page we created with all of the videos from the evening before we release them on Thursday on Fizz's female website. But anyone have any questions? I don't know. I'm gonna unmute everyone. Oh, you mentioned being able to sense new trends. Do you have any predictions for the future of the natural wine movement? That's a great question. That's from Josh.
Hi. I just think that natural wine is just going to grow more and more and more. I mean, it's become like almost natural that it is found in restaurants, like especially when it comes to like the bigger cities, New York, San Francisco. San Francisco is very slow, but like LA, it's huge over there. Chicago, it's slowly getting there into some of the shops. Like there are many cities like really like I just think like natural wine is growing and it's gonna be taken as a normal thing and not the natural wine.
Okay, Christina asked, glue, what does the word mean to you and how can you get the meaning out to the wider public?
So basically, it's really hard when like you have to name something, you know. And to me, I thought like the name Glou Glou, that's where it basically comes from.
Well,
Is
what does glue mean? I mean, I know what it means, so some people might know what it means.
unpretentious drinking. Gluk gluk.
It's like glug. Yeah, yeah, okay.
But to me, it was like I wanted to have the word orange in there because that's what it's basically about. And I just felt like when I used the word glue, it's like I wanted to have an unpretentious name. I could also, you know, call it the Orange Wine Club, but I just felt that was, and I actually never thought about that. There's so many names, but I just felt like it was unpretentious, and that was kind of the idea of it. But then I really wanted to deliver, and so I don't know. I hope it worked out, but that's basically the name behind it. Just like unpretentious drinking, Orange Glou.
Well, I will say to Christina that Doreen has had major popularity in the press since she launched. She's been in the New York Times, to name one, but I know there's many others. Where else have you been written up and the message has gone out through the press? Because you've really created a niche here.
That was the point. I mean, you know, and it's kind of funny because like there's a lot of people that laughed about this, you know, when I like told them like that's what I'm gonna do. I was kind of scared actually to tell people that I'm gonna do that. And yeah, and when the New York Times article, sorry, came out, like there were a lot of people that you know came to me and like, okay, well, I guess this is very serious. Sorry, I forgot the question.
Oh, like what other notable press have you received? Because I know like New York Times was the piece de resistance, but like, you know, what other great press, some of the press that you've received? It's been a lot.
It's been a lot. It's like I mean I was just in this amazing female in this amazing entrepreneur thing yesterday. Hang on, I have it right here. It's the Femme Founder. Yeah,
Oh, I love that.
it's so good, and they quoted me and stop thinking, start doing. That was my motto. Because
I
really,
love it.
taking me back to think about it, to think about like how it's going to look, what people are going to think. Yeah, but it's so many. To be very honest, I mean, obviously, New York Times, that was the absolute dream. I never thought I could get in there ever. And then it was followed immediately by Food and Wine. I was in Vogue. I was in. Honestly, I have 75 articles right now.
That's amazing.
In,
So that would be how you'd get the word out, I would say, to a wider public. Marina asked a question. She said she's tried pet nats so many times and it's always a different amount and style of fizz. Are there any rules? What kind of bubbles do you look for? So how do you explain the bandwidth of variations in bubbly?
kind of the thing that I should have also mentioned. Some of the pet nuts, so like it's no, all about the pet nut is you are not supposed to manage the wine. Like you're not supposed to influence it. You're not supposed to like fermentation, make it colder, make it warmer, or anything. There should not be any influences. It should really natural go by itself. And so some pet nuts actually don't ferment until the end and are completely dry. So some are off dry, some are super dry, some are not really in a cold space because the colder space actually influences it in a way that you can actually make the fermentation go slower and you can make smaller and more bubbles. So it's just kind of what is given to you in the nature, in your cellar. You know, what are the temperatures out there, and what are you doing, and how fast are you actually bottling it?
If anyone has any other questions, I'm gonna shortly. Okay, what areas of the world are you looking toward for interesting wines? You mentioned Maryland. That's from Rafaela.
Honestly, I'm looking everywhere. I
Yeah.
I'm literally like whatever is like around. I mean, I'm having a hard time tasting things, but somehow people do really want to work with me, and so sometimes I get a whole bottle like brought to me, or a half bottle, something like that, and I can taste because they're obviously through the situation. Nobody wants to come close to you and have one-on-one tastings, Jeff.
Jeff, I know. I was going to say, we have a friend on here who sells wine. He's already pitched a pet
It,
nat.
this month, for example, I wanted to dig in really deep into the New World because I feel like people haven't fully embraced that and fully understood it, and maybe not themselves found wines that are like super exciting. So we have wines this month from Australia, Argentina, Chile, the US, New Zealand, and South Africa. So like I'm super excited because I like to have like a theme. I'm this nerdy, and I was told, please just like bring wines from all over the world. It doesn't matter, because sometimes I want to do like a pack that's just one country. But I've been told no, people want all over. But I know like I can still at least make it the New World, you know, 6 bottle pack or 3 bottle pack. I'm very excited about that. There's so much good stuff out there, and it's I want to always drink something new as well. So like when I find something new and can discover that and share, I'm so excited. But then we obviously also feature in these boxes like allocated wine stuff that really is hard to get, that I have my hands on.
Nice. I love it. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but if anyone wants to stay on and toast to Doreen or just like lightly chat or say a cuss word, whatever you want to do, it's fine. But for now, I'm going to say thank you so much, Doreen, for being on this evening. Tomorrow, the recording will be on fizzesfemale.com on our new page, Fizz Media. And then again, next week, Rafaela will be on, and Rafaela is with Champagne Boulanger and Ayala. So I am going to go ahead and stop the recording. And if anyone wants to stay on, you can unmute yourself and we can chat and toast and hang out and give a proper, you know, happy hour hello. So
Thank you for having me.
thank you.